Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Yaga video, I want to talk about my time spent in the game, what the game does have to offer, as well as my thoughts on a couple of the systems that do exist within the game. Yaga came out on consoles back in 2019 and just recently on January 12th released on Steam. This game caught my eye. I thought the art style looked interesting and just thought that it was a game that I wanted to check out. I picked it up on sale for $12 over on Green Man Gaming. I was super pumped to check out this game and see what it would offer. I knew going into it that it was going to be more of a story-driven game, that I'd be playing a blacksmith, which meant there probably wouldn't be different classes to choose from like you would find in a typical action RPG. Within Yaga, you play a one-handed blacksmith, and there's a whole story behind how he loses his arm and everything that you learn within the first few minutes of the game. And there's quite a bit of story. I would say the story is probably the strongest point for Yaga. There's many other things within this game that just fell short. That's kind of what I want to talk about in this video. I want to let you know up front, the game is, when it's not on sale, it's originally priced at $24.99. I definitely do not recommend this game in its current state. And instead of just bashing the game and saying everything I hate, I want to do more of a constructive video. I want to talk about each system, explain it, talk about what I like and don't like. One more thing I want to point out here is I played the game for a little over 10 hours across 3 different days. All 3 days, when I was done playing the game, I legit had a headache. I went and had to take an ibuprofen because the game just gave me a headache because the systems are just not up front. The very first system I want to talk about within Yaga is their maps, combats, and different events that can occur. So the way that the maps are set up within this game is, first of all, you have your home base city hub with different vendors, quest NPCs, different characters to talk to and everything like that. Once you leave the main city hub area, you come into the resting area, which is where you're going to appear after you've died or completed a mission. This is kind of your in-between area. And within here you can find a crafting anvil and a crow that you can send to get you different items. Once you've decided that you're ready for your next adventure, you can then go on to leave this area and talk to some characters that'll help you decide what your next adventure will be. There's main quests, side quests, or different adventure zones that can give you different items. This is a great concept up front, but once you start to play, you start to realize there's maybe only 2 or 3 different types of maps in the entire game. These maps appear to be randomly generated. They do have different random events that can spawn as well. These events are dialogue heavy and oftentimes unrewarding. There's one thing in this game that I do want to point out. If you're going to pick up the game to play, for whatever reason, just know that there's these ovens in the game. When you interact with them, you can do different things. You can fix it, you can give it an item, you can search it, or you can attack it and destroy it and get some crafting materials. Don't destroy it. Once you've destroyed the oven, you can never ever fix that type of oven again, even on other maps later on in the game. And there's only like 6 different types of ovens. When I first started, I thought that the next map it would respawn these ovens. It doesn't. It's a really horrible system. This was the first system that I noticed that really just annoyed me to just beyond explanation. But while you're going through these maps, you have your overlay map, your mini map. You can do full map clears if you want. You can go through and just do your quests for either the main quest or side quest that you're doing while doing the different events that spawn. Now, when it comes to combat, when you enter a part of the map that does have monsters, they're going to spawn in, and it's a little bit like Pagan Online, where you're then blocked into that area until those monsters are dead. At first, I didn't mind this type of system. It gave me a reason to kill monsters instead of just running through the map, until I found a glitch where I killed a monster, but it didn't register as being dead, and so I had to restart the game. That was a little bit upsetting as well. But the combat itself is actually pretty decent, to be honest with you. The art style's nice. The hits feel impactful. When it comes to different attacks and moves you can use your melee attack with your blacksmith hammer. You can use it as a throwing weapon and do more of a range type setup if you want. It's like a Thor hammer. It hits and it comes back. It's nothing new to the genre at all, but it's pretty fun nonetheless. You can also get different tools throughout the game, from a grappling hook that'll allow you to grip smaller enemies to you, or if the enemy's bigger, it'll pull you to the enemy and stun them. Then you can get some hits in there. And there's other tools that you can find throughout your adventure as well. There are really no skills in the game. There's no buffs or anything like that that you would normally find. Instead, they have consumables within the game. So let me take one step back here before we talk about consumables. And I mentioned there's different tools, right? I think there's like 6 different tools you can get in the game. You cannot quick swap through them, which is really frustrating. You have to go into your actual inventory and equip the one that you want to use. It just takes up more time when they could just allow me, I used a controller to play, so they could just allow me to just toggle it with the D-pad. But anyway, it's the same thing with consumables. You can only have one tool equipped at a time. You can only have one consumable equipped at a time. Consumables do different things from healing you to giving you a buff, maybe infinite stamina, or you're invincible for a little bit. Some do a knockback. But again, you use one item, and then if you want to use a different one, you have to go back into your inventory and equip it. It only takes a few seconds, but it really does break up the combat and just kind of breaks the gameplay, honestly, in my opinion. Other than that, there's really no monster variety at all. I think there's maybe less than 10 different monster types that I came across. Boss fights are relatively boring. You just dodge around, hit them twice in the back, then you dodge their next attack, rinse and repeat until they're dead. There's a few other ones that are maybe a little bit more interesting, but the final boss is the one that really just annoyed me to no extent because it was so time consuming that I just honestly quit playing the game. So that's maps, events, and combat. The last thing I really just kind of want to talk about there is the events are really cool since they do kind of feed into the story of what's going on, and some of them do have some pretty good humor with them. But the other thing, and we'll talk about this next, is dialogue. Is everything they say in this game ends up being a rhyme or a riddle. And it was okay for the first 30 minutes to an hour of playing the game, but then it just made me want to just skip through the dialogue because I found it so cringy. So let's talk about dialogue. Dialogue is one of the more important systems in this game. This is a narrative-based action RPG. Your choices matter. They're going to affect the outcome of the story. They're also going to affect your character development. When you gain enough experience points, you can level up once you finish the mission that you're currently on, and you're going to be given a choice of traits to choose from. There you get 3 choices, and the traits are strictly picked. The choices you get are picked from your personality style of your character. So if you're in dialogue and you're being really aggressive when you're talking to other characters, you're going to be offered these aggressive traits, which give you more health, more damage, different things like that. Whereas if you're more of a greedy personality and you're constantly asking about rewards and this and that, those traits then are going to show up and you're going to be able to find more gold and different things like that. So I thought this system of what you say and what you do matters and directly impacts your character's development was a really cool idea. It just felt short though, because for me it was like, how do I really know exactly which trait? And I'm one of those players that I like to kind of plan out my build or plan out my character. And you can do that personality wise, but you don't know what traits you're missing out on unless you look up a Wikipedia or something, which I didn't do. I don't even know if that exists. It just felt like more of a casual game, which I guess is not a bad thing. It's just not what I was looking for in the game. So having your character level up and the perks, these traits that you get while you level up are permanent perks. And having these decided based on what you say in dialogue just wasn't fun for me. I'm not a huge lore person. I did pay attention to the story in this game, and while it was pretty funny, I had a few good laughs, and the story was somewhat interesting. At the end of the day, having my character be upgraded based on what he's saying throughout the dialogue, just not for me. Another interesting system within Yaga is the bad luck meter. This one took me, I played for like probably 5 hours one day. The first day I played for about 5 hours, and I didn't even know what this bad luck meter was. I ended up having to Google it. Basically what it is, and I probably should have explained this during combat, is you have your red bars, your health, the yellow bars, your stamina. I assume that's straightforward. You consume your stamina by dodge rolling using tools, and then when you get hit, you lose health. That's pretty obvious, right? But you have this other resource, and it's this purple meter. This is your bad luck meter. Whenever you do anything that is not your typical personality, so like I played an aggressive character, if I ever tried to be greedy or selfish or whatever, I would get bad luck. It would fill up my bad luck meter a little bit. Also, using magic items, the consumables that we talked about earlier, adds to this bad luck meter. Now, when this bad luck meter gets full, you're going to lose all blessings that you've earned from other characters. Blessings are things that you can purchase with one of the currencies within the game. They're not insanely hard to get, but it's just a little bit annoying that when your bad luck meter's full, you lose all those blessings. It seems like you do less damage, and it's just all around not good. What do you do to counteract that? There are consumable items in the game, these good luck charms that you can use to get rid of the bad luck meter. You can go to town, and there's an NPC there. You can pay 25 gold to get rid of all your bad luck, which is relatively cheap. But when you're out on a mission, you want to make sure you have a good luck item to reduce that luck meter. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your blessings and be really weak, and you're going to struggle within the mission. That's basically how this bad luck meter and this luck system works. But in my opinion, this system was just not well explained to the player. I mean, I was 6 hours into the game before I figured out how this meter worked. I think if they would have told me up front, look, this is the luck meter, and then, maybe the first time I fill up the bad luck meter, it tells me minus all these blessings and this and that, and you're getting these curses, and tell me what's going on. It does not tell you. It does not communicate that to the player in a clear way whatsoever. And I just think that's really poor design. It led to more frustration and headaches and just annoyances than what I really wanted from the game. This bad luck meter, if I would have known from the very get-go how it worked, it might have been more fun to play around. I even thought about trying to do another playthrough now that I know how everything works, but no, I'm not going to. I just was so frustrated, I had to just stop playing the game. Which is kind of why I'm making this video. I was struggling sleeping, so I was trying to figure out, why don't I like this game? And instead of just leaving a negative review on Steam and then moving on, I kind of wanted to just make this video and talk about it. So hopefully someone out there is getting something out of this video. Last but not least, we have character customization, loot, items, and a little bit of crafting. It all kind of feeds in together. And let's just talk about what the system is and what it looks like. So when it comes to character customization, I already told you about leveling up and obtaining your traits based on your dialogue choices. There's more to it than that. You have 3 different trinket slots that you can equip. These are items that you can randomly lose if you have bad luck, and there's nothing that tells you you've lost the item. It's just you look in your character sheet and you realize, oh, that slot's empty for some reason. You don't know why. But you can have 3 of those equipped. They do different things, from you take less damage, you deal more damage, you slow enemies on hit. I found one item that was pretty cool, that when I got hit, I sometimes had a chance to charm that enemy and then they would fight for me. That was a pretty cool trinket to have. You also have a slot for your weapon, your blacksmith hammer, that you can use and craft and modify in different ways, which we will talk about. And then you also have your different tools. But as far as character customization, the majority of really customizing your character is going to be crafting that blacksmith hammer. That's a huge, important part of the game, since your character is a blacksmith. In order to craft your hammer, you need to either be in town or in that in-between area that we talked about. And you can also find special anvils out in the world to craft more empowered weapons. But the way that crafting works basically is you go into this crafting system, you throw in a blueprint of any tool that you have. So the hammer, the grapple hook, there's a claw weapon you can get. The majority of it's going to be, you're going to be crafting hammers because they have low durability. They're going to break frequently. You're going to need at least 2 to 3 hammers per map. But once you've thrown in your blueprint and decided what you want to make, you can then throw on a specific kind of ore. Different ores do different things. Some make them do more damage. Some maybe add a crit chance or a bleed. There's like 6 different ores, I think. So that's kind of your base item there. And then you move down to enchantments. These are going to add your more interesting effects, such as the poison or bleed. Those were the 2 that I mainly used. Deal more damage to cold enemies, deal more damage to warm enemies, different things like that. And then last but not least, you have runes. What runes are is when your weapon breaks, a special effect happens. I found that runes are relatively rare in the game, so I didn't really experiment with them all that much. You can also level up your crafting station, the anvil. You can level it up in a couple different ways. You can make it so that when you salvage items, you have a chance to keep the enchantments. Definitely worth investing into. You can also make it so that you can add on more enchantments and add on more runes. And last but not least, you can also level up the durability so that when you repair, it adds on more durability. All the way up to sometimes when you repair, you don't consume ore, which is really good. I played for 10 hours and I found that these took a really long time to level up all the way to rank 3 for all of those. Well, this crafting system does seem cool, and it was kind of one of the drawing points, honestly, for me in the game, and I thought it would bring a lot more to the table. It's a cool system. It's a really cool system, but where it falls short is the items break so frequently. So really crafting that really good item is not all that exciting, knowing that the item's more than likely going to break. There's no visible durability level in game. You can't go in and say, you know, oh, I'm at 40% left of my durability or anything like that. The only thing that happens is the game will pop up in the top left and it'll say your weapon's about to break. And then if you hit something like 5 or 6 more times, the weapon just poof, it's gone. This happened to me multiple times and it was beyond frustrating. I don't understand why this game withholds so much information from the player. I just don't understand. That's basically everything the game has and all the systems that I really wanted to talk about and share my opinions on. We covered the map, combats, events. We talked about how the dialogue plays a huge role in your character development and your permanent traits. We talked a little bit about the blessings that you can get and you can lose if you fill up your bad luck meter. We also covered the customization, loot, crafting, and the different tools that you can use to kind of change up your playstyle a little bit. Some final comments on the game. I paid $12. I got 10 hours out of the game. I left 3 nights in a row with a migraine just because the game doesn't tell you anything. And it really explains nothing to the player. It's beyond frustrating. I absolutely cannot recommend anyone buying Yaga. If someone maybe wants to gift it to you or you can somehow get the game for free, definitely check it out. I think the idea of having a good versus bad and trying to pursue the personality that you want to be in the game is a really cool idea. But with all the dialogue and where they had to make every other sentence rhyme, and then the mix of all the riddles, and then the game itself being one giant riddle, just was not my cup of tea. I like to know what I'm doing in the game, what things are doing, how things work, and I like a game to really respect my time as a player. And I think by not telling the player how things work and function, I just find that rude and disrespectful. I just want to say thank you. If you watched this entire video to this point, like, honestly, thank you. This was very therapeutic for me. I left this game feeling very frustrated, upset, mad, and I didn't really know how to channel those feelings. I know there's people out there that say, well, it's just a video game. That's totally fine. I get you. For me, it's something that I think about and I try to figure out why. Why was I so frustrated with this game? And this video really helped me have an outlet to explain how I feel and talk about all of it. So if you enjoyed this video and you watched all of this, thank you. It means the absolute world to me that you just wanted to listen to me talk about a video game. honestly, thank you. If you enjoy this video and all the content on the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe. Feel free to share the channel with your friends. Also, feel free to check out our social media links down below. We do have Twitter, Discord. I do stream over on Twitch, primarily on Fridays and Saturdays as well. Hopefully, we'll be expanding that in the future. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.